My name is Velkorthine, and I was the first to see the signal. I wish I had not been. The alarm screamed through the monitoring station at the exact moment I was pouring my morning drink. The cup shattered on the floor. Every light on my console turned red at the same time. Not one sensor, not two, all of them. Every single sensor watching the forbidden quarantine zone had gone silent in less than 3 heartbeats. I stared at the screens. My hands were shaking. For 400,000 years, the stellar empire had watched over 8,000 species. For 800 of those years, we had watched one small solar system with extra care. That system had one rule attached to it. Nothing goes in, nothing comes out. The humans were to stay inside, forever. And now, the wall we had built around them was gone. I pressed the emergency button on my desk. The face of High Matriarch Shazara appeared on my main screen. Her silver skin looked pale, even for her species. She had already seen the reports. "Velkor," she said, her voice was low. "Tell me this is a mistake." "It is not a mistake, Matriarch. The barrier is gone, all of it. Every sensor was shut down in a polite way. They even left thank you messages in the logs." She closed her 4 eyes. When she opened them again, she tried to smile. "Primitives playing games, that is all. They cannot have built anything real in their little cage. Send a diplomatic ship. We will remind them of their place." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But my fingers were still cold and my heart was still racing, and somewhere deep inside me, a voice was whispering that something very old and very wrong had just shifted in the universe. I pulled up the history files while I waited for her orders to become official. I had read them 100 times during my training, but I read them again now. I needed to remember why we had done what we had done. 800 years ago, humans made first contact with a concordance survey fleet near their own star system. The meeting did not go well. The humans back then were aggressive, loud. Their ships were small and weak, but they fought with a kind of wild courage that frightened our officers. 3 concordance ships were damaged before peace was made. 3 ships out of a fleet of 40. It was not a real defeat, but it was a shock. The council studied the humans for 20 years. They wrote reports. They held meetings. They argued. In the end, they made a choice. The humans were too young, too wild, too dangerous to be allowed into the wider galaxy. But killing them was not our way. We did not do such things. So instead, we built a wall. It was not a wall made of stone. It was a wall made of science. A quantum disruption barrier wrapped all the way around the human star system like a shell around an egg. No signal could go in. No ship could go out. The humans inside would not even know the wall was there. They would look at the stars and think they simply could not reach them yet. They would try. They would fail. And one day, far in the future, when we decided they were ready, we would open the wall and welcome them. That was the plan. That was the mercy, as the council called it. I always thought it was a cage, but I kept that thought to myself. I was only a third observer. My job was to watch, not to judge. Now, as I sat in my station, watching the empty screens where the wall used to be, I wondered if the council had ever really believed their own story. 3 hours passed. The diplomatic ship named the Gentle Word was prepared and sent. It would take 4 days to reach the edge of the zone. I was ordered to stay at my post and report anything unusual. Everything was unusual. At the end of the first day, a new signal appeared on my console. It was not a normal signal. It did not come from one direction. It came from everywhere at the same time, on every frequency the concordance used. Every ship in the galaxy, every station, every communication relay received the same message at the same second. The message was short. It was spoken in all 8,000 languages of the concordance at once. I had never heard anything like it. Each voice was calm. Each voice was warm. Each voice was human. "We have grown," the message said. "May we come to dinner?" That was all. I sat frozen in my chair. The drink I had poured earlier was still on the floor, the liquid dried into a stain. I could not move. The words were so simple, so gentle, so wrong. May we come to dinner. These were the humans we had locked away. The wild ones, the loud ones, the ones who had scared a fleet of 40 ships with their tiny fighters, and now they were asking politely if they could come and eat with us. My console buzzed. High Matriarch Shazara was on the line again. I accepted the call with shaking fingers. "Did you hear it?" she asked. "Yes, Matriarch." "It means nothing. They are trying to seem clever. They are trying to scare us with tricks." "Yes, Matriarch." But she did not sound like she believed her own words, and I did not either. I spent the next 3 days running every prediction model the Concordance had ever built. I fed the models every piece of data we had on the humans. I asked the models simple questions. What were the humans doing now? How strong were they? What did they want? Every model gave me the same answer, every single one. The answer was not a number, it was not a guess, it was an error. Insufficient data, subject has diverged. I did not understand that word at first. Diverged. It means to move away from a known path. The models were telling me that the humans were no longer on the path we had measured them on. They were somewhere else now. Somewhere we could not see, could not predict, could not even imagine. I called one of the old scientists who had helped design the quantum barrier 800 years ago. His name was Master Orin, and he lived on a quiet moon near the Concordance capital. His face, on my screen, was wrinkled and tired. He looked at me with the calm eyes of a creature who has lived too long. "Velcor," he said softly, "I have been waiting for this call. I have been waiting for 700 years." I did not know what to say. "Listen to me," he continued. "The barrier we built was not only a cage, it was also a mirror. The humans inside had nothing to look at but themselves. No enemies, no neighbors, no distractions. Only their own minds, their own hands, their own dreams. Do you understand what that does to a species?" "No, Master." "It makes them grow inward, deep, fast, without limit. A seed in a dark room given only water and time will find a way to reach the light. And when it finally breaks through, it will be nothing like the seed you buried." I swallowed hard. What should I do? He smiled, but it was a sad smile. "Nothing. It is already too late to do anything. Just watch, just listen. And when they speak to you, Velcor, speak back with kindness. It is the only language that might still matter." He ended the call. I sat alone in my station. The stars outside the window looked the same as they had always looked. Calm, distant, unchanging. But I knew now that something was moving through them. Something that had been locked away for 800 years, growing in the dark, waiting to be ready. On the morning of the 4th day, I received a new alert. The gentle word had reached the edge of the zone. The captain of the ship sent a message back to the Concordance. His voice was tight with fear. "The barrier is gone," he reported. "Not broken, not destroyed. It is folded like a piece of cloth, and set neatly to the side, as if someone wanted us to know they had put it away carefully, as if they wanted to be polite." I closed my eyes. The humans were coming. They had already come, and the only question left was what we would do when we finally saw their faces. I did not know the answer, but I knew one thing for sure. The Stellar Empire, in all its long and proud history, had never been this quiet. Not a single voice spoke across the council channels. Not a single ship moved without orders. 8,000 species, spread across 1,000 worlds, were holding their breath together. And somewhere, out past the edge of the Forbidden Zone, a door we had closed 800 years ago was slowly, gently, politely opening. The gentle word floated at the edge of the Forbidden Zone for exactly 12 minutes before the humans arrived. I watched it happen from my station. The live feed was clear, every detail sharp. Captain Darwin stood on the bridge of the gentle word, his hands folded behind his back, his crest feathers flat against his skull in the pose of careful calm. Around him, His officers sat at their stations, trying not to look at the empty space where the barrier used to be. Then the space was no longer empty. There was no flash of light, no warping of stars, no warning at all. One moment there was nothing in front of the gentle word. The next moment there was a ship, a human ship, and it was bigger than any vessel the Concordance had ever built. I felt my breath catch. The human ship was the size of a small moon. Its hull was not solid in the normal way. As I watched, parts of it seemed to shift between states, becoming soft, then hard, then something that my sensors could not even name. It did not have engines in any place I could see. It did not need them. It simply was where it chose to be. Captain Darwin, to his great credit, did not panic. He opened a channel. "This is Captain Darwin of the Concordance vessel Gentle Word. We greet you in peace. Please identify yourselves." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then a small shuttle separated from the human ship. It crossed the distance between the two vessels in a way that was hard to describe. It did not fly. It did not jump. It simply arrived moment by moment, each moment closer than the last, without ever seeming to move. The shuttle docked with the Gentle Word, the airlock cycled, and one single human stepped out. She was small. That was the first thing I noticed, smaller than I had expected. She wore simple clothes, pale blue and white, with no weapons of any kind that I could see. Her skin was dark brown. Her hair was pulled back from her face. She was smiling. "Hello," she said in perfect Concordance standard speech. "My name is Imani Akafer. I am an ambassador. Thank you for coming to meet us." Captain Darwin's crest feathers rose slightly. He had been trained in first contact protocols. He knew what to do. He activated the submission pulse. I need to explain what the submission pulse is. It is a low-frequency signal built into every Concordance command vessel. It is meant for meetings with younger species. It gently pushes on certain parts of the mind, making the listener feel calm, respectful, and willing to obey. It is not painful. It is not cruel. We tell ourselves it is a kind tool. It helps difficult meetings go smoothly. The pulse washed over the human ambassador. She tilted her head slightly to one side. Her smile grew a little wider, and then she laughed. It was a soft laugh, a kind laugh, the kind of laugh a parent gives a child who has done something sweet but silly. "Oh," she said, "that is sweet. We used to do that to each other, you know, a very long time ago. We stopped. It felt unkind." Captain Darwin stared at her. His crest feathers were flat against his skull again, not from calm now, but from shock. "I am sorry," Imani said gently. "Please do not be afraid. I know this is strange for you. It is a little strange for us too. May I sit down? I have come a long way." A chair was brought for her. She sat. She folded her hands in her lap, and she began to talk. I listened to every word from my station. So did the entire Concordance Council. So did every world that could receive the signal. 8,000 species, stopped in their work, held still by the sound of one small human voice. 800 years ago, Imani began, you closed a door around our home. I want you to know that we are not angry about this. We understand why you did it. We were young then. We were frightened. We fought with you because we did not know any better, and we were sorry about that for a very long time. She paused. But the door did something you did not expect. It gave us time, a great deal of time. And with nothing to look at but ourselves, we had to become better or we had to break. We chose to become better. Captain Darwin found his voice. How much better? Imani's smile was kind. I will try to explain. I will try to be gentle about it. Please tell me if I say too much at once. She told him, she told all of us. Cut off from the rest of the galaxy, the humans had turned inward. They had looked at their own bodies, their own minds, their own world, and they had begun to change all three. They solved the problem of aging within 100 years of the barrier going up. They solved the problem of hunger within 200. By the time 300 years had passed, they no longer fought wars with each other. because they had learned, slowly and painfully, that every war they fought was a war against their own future. They spread across their solar system. They built cities on their moon, on their neighboring planets, inside hollowed-out asteroids. They learned how to live in places that should have killed them. They learned how to grow food from sunlight and stone. They learned how to fold space itself, long before the Concordants ever dreamed such a thing was possible. "We could have broken your barrier within 200 years, Imani said softly. "We knew how. We had the tools, but we did not." "Why?" Captain Darwin asked. "Because we were not ready. We were strong, but we were not wise. We did not want to come out of the door and make the same mistakes we made the first time. So we waited. We waited 6 more centuries. We grew kinder. We grew slower. We grew careful. We wanted to be good neighbors before we asked to be neighbors at all." I found that I was crying. I did not know when I had started. I wiped the tears from my cheeks and kept watching. Captain Darwin was silent for a long moment. Then he asked the question that every being in the galaxy wanted to ask. "How many of you are there now?" Imani looked at him with those gentle eyes. "There are 40 billion of us who still use bodies," she said. "We do not count the ones who have chosen other ways of being. That would not be polite." The bridge of the gentle word went completely silent. 40 billion. When we had locked them away, there had been 8 billion humans. In 800 years, in one single solar system, they had grown by 5 times. And those were only the ones who, in her words, still used bodies. I did not even want to think about what the other humans were. Captain Darwin's training held. He took a slow breath. He nodded once. "Ambassador Imani, I would like to invite you to travel with us to the Concordance capital. Our council wishes to speak with you. Will you come?" "I would be honored," she said, "but may I suggest something first?" "Please." "Your engines are not well. There is a small crack in your 3rd fuel line. It will not harm you today or tomorrow, but in 2 weeks it may become dangerous. May I ask one of our technicians to fix it before we leave? As a gift, a thank you for coming to meet us." Captain Darwin was not able to speak. He simply nodded. A second human stepped out of the shuttle. He carried nothing, no tools, no equipment. He walked to the engine room. Cameras followed him. I watched through the feed. He placed his hand on the outside of the 3rd fuel line. He closed his eyes. He stood there for perhaps 10 seconds. Then he opened his eyes, smiled at the camera, and walked back to the shuttle. I ran a check on the fuel line. The crack was gone, not welded, not patched, gone, as if it had never been there. I sat in my station, alone in the quiet. I thought about the old scientist, Master Oren, and what he had said. A seed in a dark room, given only water and time. The Concordance had not locked away a threat. We had planted something. We had watered it with 800 years of silence. And now the plant had grown, and it was here, and it was polite, and it was smiling, and it was asking, with the soft voice of a small woman named Imani, if it might come to dinner. I opened a new report file. My hands were still shaking, but less now. I typed the first line slowly. "The humans have returned. They are not what we feared. They are something else, something we have no word for yet." I sent the report to the High Matriarch. I closed my eyes, and I waited for the council to decide what to do next. Somewhere deep inside me, a small voice whispered that whatever the council decided, it would not matter. The humans had already decided for us. They had decided to be kind. And kindness, I was beginning to understand, was the most powerful thing in the galaxy. The council chamber on Cecilar Prime was the largest room ever built by any civilization in the known universe. It was shaped like a great bowl turned upside down, with walls that curved up into a dome so high that clouds sometimes formed near the top. 8,000 seats lined the walls, one for each member species. When the full council met, the chamber held more minds than any other place in history. I had only been inside it twice before. Both times I had felt small. Today I felt invisible. I stood in the back in the observer section as a witness called from my station. My legs were tired from standing. My stomach was tight from worry. Ambassador Imani Akafar sat in the center of the chamber in a single chair, alone. She was not nervous. She did not fidget. She simply waited, with her hands folded in her lap, for the council to finish arguing about her. And they were arguing. Oh, how they were arguing. The first to speak was the leader of the Kravdu collective, Warlord Zreth. He was a tall creature with 4 thick arms and skin the color of dried blood. His people were the most militant in the Concordance, the ones who had fought the most wars, built the most ships, trained the most soldiers. His voice was like stones being dragged across stones. "The answer is simple," he said. "Rebuild the barrier, make it stronger. Do it now today before the humans learn any more of our secrets. They are a sickness. We cured it once. We will cure it again." Many voices rose in agreement, not a majority, but enough to be loud. Then the Etherian delegate stood. Her species was old, older than most in the council, and they were philosophers. They spoke softly and thought deeply. Her name was Loris, and her skin shimmered like water in sunlight. "Warlord Zreth speaks from fear," she said. "I understand his fear, I share it, but I ask the council to listen to what the humans have actually done, not what we imagine they might do. They came to us in peace. They waited 600 years longer than they had to so that they would not frighten us. They offered to fix a crack in our ship. They spoke to us like friends. Are these the actions of a sickness? Or are they the actions of a people who have learned something we have not yet learned?" The chamber filled with muttering. A third voice rose. This was the delegate of the Finari, a quiet species known for their careful thinking. Their leader, a small being called Pedik, climbed onto his stand and spoke slowly. "Both of my fellow delegates make good points, but we are missing the most important question. What do the humans want? Not what do we want from them. What do they want from us? Until we know this, we cannot choose a path." The chamber fell silent. High Matriarch Shazara, who was acting as speaker for this session, turned to Imani. "Ambassador," she said, "would you answer this question for the council? What do your people want?" Imani rose slowly from her chair. She looked around the great chamber at the 8,000 faces watching her. She did not look afraid. She looked sad, in a way I could not fully understand. "Thank you for asking," she said. Her voice was soft, but somehow it filled the entire chamber. "I will try to answer honestly." She took a breath. "First, I must tell you something that may be uncomfortable. While I have been sitting here today, my people have already completed a full survey of concordance space. We know the location of every one of your worlds. We know the position of every ship in your fleets. We know the contents of your classified archives. We know the names of your children and the songs you sing to them at night." The chamber exploded with noise. Imani raised one hand. The noise did not stop, but her calm presence seemed to slow it. "Please, please listen. I tell you this not as a threat. I tell you this so that you know I am being honest with you. We did not send spies. We did not hack your systems. Our sensors simply see things that yours cannot block. We saw it all at once the moment we stepped outside our solar system, and we have chosen to do nothing with what we saw. Nothing at all. Your secrets are safe with us. They will always be safe with us." She paused, letting this settle. "Now you asked what we want. I will tell you." She turned slowly, so that she could see as many faces as possible. "We do not want your worlds. We have more worlds than we need. We do not want your resources. We have learned to make almost anything we need from sunlight and thought. We do not want your armies. We do not believe in armies anymore. We do not want your obedience. Obedience given out of fear is not worth having." Her eyes grew soft. "We want to sit at your tables. We want to hear your stories. We want to teach our children the names of your stars, and we want your children to learn the names of ours. We want to work beside you on problems that are bigger than any one species. We want to be your neighbors, your friends, your family, if you will have us." She smiled gently. That is what we want. That is all we want. And if you tell us no, we will leave. We will return to our solar system. We will close the door behind us. We will not trouble you again. The choice is yours. It has always been yours." The chamber was silent, truly silent. 8,000 species holding their breath at once. I had never heard such a silence. Then Warlord Zereth stood up again. His face was dark with anger. "Pretty words," he said. "Beautiful words. The words of a trap. I do not believe them. I will never believe them. A species that grows in secret for 800 years does not emerge to make friends. It emerges to rule. And I, for one, will not bow." He turned to his delegation. He made a quick gesture with 2 of his 4 arms. It was a gesture I had seen in military training files. It meant prepare for action. My stomach dropped. I knew what he was going to do. I had suspected it for 2 days. I had hoped I was wrong. I slipped out of the observer section. I moved quickly through the side halls of the chamber, past guards who did not stop me because my credentials were in order. I found an empty communication booth. I closed the door behind me. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely work the controls. I opened a private channel, a channel that was not supposed to exist. A channel I had built myself 2 nights ago when I realized what Warlord Zereth was planning. On the other end of the channel was Ambassador Imani Akafer. I did not know how it was possible for her to hear me while she was still in the chamber, but I knew somehow that she could. "Ambassador," I whispered, "my name is Velkor Thien. I am a 3rd observer. I have no authority to speak to you. I am breaking every rule of my office by contacting you now. Please forgive me." There was no delay. Her voice answered immediately, soft and warm. "Hello, Velkor. I have been hoping you would call." I nearly dropped the microphone. "You have. I saw you in the observer section. I saw the way you looked at me. Kind eyes are easy to find once you know what to look for. What would you like to tell me?" I swallowed. "The Kravdu, Warlord Zereth. He is sending a fleet, 12,000 warships. They are already gathering at the edge of Sol space. He means to break the peace before the Council can make a decision. He means to strike your home." There was a pause. When Imani spoke again, her voice was still gentle, but there was a new sadness in it. "I know, Velkor. We have seen the fleet. We have been watching it since it started to gather." "Then why did you not say anything? Why did you sit in that chamber and speak of friendship while his ships moved toward your children?" "Because, Velkor, we wanted to give him a chance to choose differently. We still do. Every being, no matter how angry, deserves the chance to change their mind." I leaned my head against the wall of the booth. Tears were running down my face again. I did not know why I was crying so much lately. Maybe because I had grown up believing my civilization was the greatest in the galaxy. And maybe, in the last few days, I had started to understand that we were not great at all. We were only old. "Ambassador," I said, "what will you do when his ships arrive?" "We will talk to them, Velkor. We will try to talk to them. And if they will not listen to talk, we will show them something. Something small, something gentle, something that will, we hope, help them understand." "Will anyone die?" There was a long pause. "No, Velkor, no one will die. That is a promise. We do not do that anymore, not for any reason, not ever again." I closed my eyes. "Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you for telling me that. Thank you, Velkor, for being brave enough to call. Go back to your station. Watch what happens. And when it is over, if you still wish to speak with me, I will be listening." The channel closed. I stood in the booth for a long time, breathing slowly, trying to find my balance. Then I straightened my clothes, wiped my face, and walked back to the main chamber. Warlord Zereth was gone, so was his delegation. Their seats were empty. High Matriarch Shazara stood at the speaker podium, her face gray with worry. She was trying to continue the meeting, but no one was listening. Messages were flying between delegations. Aides were running back and forth. The news was spreading. The Kravdu fleet had already left. It was moving toward the human solar system at full speed. Nothing the Council could do would stop it in time. I took my seat in the observer section. I looked at Ambassador Imani. She was still sitting in her chair, in the center of the chamber. Hands folded in her lap. She was watching me. When our eyes met, she smiled very slightly and gave me the smallest nod. Then she turned her eyes toward the ceiling, toward the open sky that showed through the top of the great dome, and she waited. All of us waited. Somewhere very far from here, 12,000 warships were closing on a small blue world, and a people who had once been caged and who had chosen to return with open hands were preparing to teach the galaxy the most important lesson it had ever been offered. I did not know if the galaxy would listen, but I knew with a certainty that filled my whole heart that I would never again doubt the humans, not for as long as I lived. The Kravdu fleet arrived at the edge of the human solar system at the beginning of what humans called a Tuesday morning. I only know this because, later, one of the humans explained to me that Tuesday was the middle of their week, and mornings were when they liked to drink a hot, dark beverage called coffee, and that the whole event had, in a strange way, interrupted breakfast for about 1 billion people. I watched everything from my station. So did the rest of the galaxy. The humans had made an unusual choice. They had opened a broadcast channel that reached every concordance world at the same moment. They did not want anyone to miss this. They wanted every species to see with their own eyes what was about to happen. I am grateful they did. Otherwise, I would never have believed it. The Kravdu fleet was a terrible sight. 12,000 warships, the largest force the Concordance had assembled in 80,000 years. Their ships were long and sharp, shaped like hunting blades, painted the dark red of their home world. They moved in formation, perfect lines, perfect angles, every ship spaced exactly the same distance from every other ship. It was the kind of display meant to make other species tremble. In the middle of the fleet was the command ship, a huge vessel called the Crown of Zereth. Warlord Zereth himself stood on its bridge. I could see him through the broadcast feed. His 4 arms were crossed over his chest. His face was a mask of cold determination. He believed he was about to save the galaxy from a great danger. He believed history would remember him as a hero. I felt sorry for him. I did not know why, but I did. The fleet reached the outer edge of the human solar system. The Kravdu sensors swept ahead looking for defenses. They found none. No warships, no weapons platforms, no energy shields, nothing at all. Just empty space, and beyond it the small warm star that the humans called their sun. Warlord Zereth opened a wide channel. His voice boomed across every human frequency. People of the human solar system, I am Warlord Zereth of the Kravdu Collective. You have 1 hour to surrender. You will return behind your barrier. You will shut down all ships, all sensors, all communication. You will accept permanent quarantine. If you do not, we will destroy your civilization. This is not a negotiation. This is not a discussion. This is the end of the matter. He closed the channel. He leaned back in his command chair. He was satisfied. 1 minute passed, 2 minutes, 3. Then a single human ship appeared in front of the Kravdu fleet. It was small, smaller even than the shuttle Ambassador Imani had used. It was shaped like a simple disc, silver and white, with no weapons and no armor that anyone could see. It floated gently between the 12,000 Kravdu warships and the Earth. A human face appeared on every screen. It was a woman, older than Imani, with silver in her dark hair and kind lines around her eyes. Her name, she said, was Captain Rhea Akba. She spoke in the Kravdu language perfectly, with no accent at all. Warlord Zereth, she said, my name is Rhea. I am here to talk to you. Please, before anyone does anything else, will you talk with me for a few minutes? Warlord Zereth laughed. It was a hard laugh with no warmth in it. I do not talk with primitives, he said. I do not talk with prey, surrender or be ended. Captain Rhea nodded slowly. She did not seem angry. She did not seem afraid. She seemed, more than anything, patient. She looked at him with the kind of eyes a wise grandmother might use to look at a child throwing a temper fit. "Warlord," she said softly, "I know your mother's name. Her name was Jihrella. She loved you very much. She taught you your first song, the one about the red moon rising. Do you remember it?" The warlord's forearms uncrossed. He stepped forward, suddenly angry. "How do you know her name? How do you know such things?" "Because I took the time to learn, Warlord. Because before we came out here, I studied your life. I learned about the world you grew up on. I read about the war your father died in. I looked at the pictures of you as a child. I wanted to meet you properly. I wanted to understand you. I did not want to stand in front of you as a stranger." Warlord Zereth was shaking now. Whether from rage or from something else, I could not tell. "You will not manipulate me with tricks of the mind," he growled. "I see what you are doing. You try to soften me. You try to weaken me. It will not work." "I am not trying to weaken you, Warlord. I am only trying to see you. You are a person. You have a story. You have reasons for what you are doing. I honor those reasons even though I disagree with what you plan to do. I am asking you as one person to another to please stop. Please turn your fleet around. No one needs to be hurt today. Not one single soul. Not yours, not mine, not anyone's." Warlord Zereth raised his upper right arm. He pointed at his weapons officer. "Full spectrum attack," he said. "All ships, all guns, fire now." The weapons officer hesitated for only a heartbeat. Then he obeyed. 12,000 Kravdu warships opened fire at the same time. I have watched a lot of battle footage in my life. I have seen every kind of weapon the Concordance has ever built. I have seen fleets fire in unison. The sight is always terrible and beautiful at the same time. Thousands of beams of light, thousands of missile trails, thousands of plasma bursts, all reaching out at once toward a single target. That is what I expected to see. That is not what happened. The Kravdu ships fired. I saw the guns flash. I saw the energy leave the barrels. I saw the missiles leap from their tubes. And then, very quietly, the weapons simply stopped existing. They did not miss. They did not get shot down. They did not hit some hidden shield. They were there in flight, traveling toward the small human ship. And then they were not. They were gone. Not a single beam completed its journey. Not a single missile reached its target. The universe, it seemed, had politely decided that the attack was not going to happen and had quietly removed it from the record. Captain Rhea sighed. It was a very small, very tired sound. The sound of a teacher whose student has gotten the wrong answer for the third time in a row. "All right, Warlord," she said. "Let us try the next lesson." She raised one hand. She did not press a button. She did not speak a command. She simply raised her hand, palm up, fingers loose. Every Kravdu warship stopped at the exact same moment. Their engines powered down, not damaged, not broken, just quietly turned off. Their weapons became inactive as if someone had switched them off from a master panel. Their screens went blank and then came back on, showing only one image, the gentle face of Captain Rhea. But the Kravdu themselves were not harmed. I could see them through the broadcast feeds moving around on their bridges, checking their consoles, trying to understand what had happened. They were not hurt. They were not unconscious. They were simply unable to do anything aggressive. They tried. I could see them trying. Warlord Zereth pounded on his command panel, shouted orders, reached for his personal weapon. His hand would not close around the grip. His voice would not form the words to attack. His forearms, which had ended lives in 100 battles, now trembled with effort and could not even make a fist. Aggression for all of them for that moment had simply been taken away. Not forever, not even for long, just for now, just long enough for them to understand. Captain Rhea's voice was sad. "Warlord Zereth, please hear me. No one here has been harmed. No one will be. You are safe. Your crews are safe. Your ships will be returned to you in working order. I am deeply sorry that we had to do this. We do not enjoy it, we do not feel proud, but you left us no other way to protect our homes." She paused, she took a slow breath. "We do not seek revenge, we do not seek punishment, we seek only understanding, so I will make you an offer, warlord, the same offer we made in the council chamber. Come, sit with us, eat with us, learn about us. Let us learn about you. If after all that you still believe we are a danger, then we will close the door again ourselves and we will never bother your people again. But first, please, give peace one chance, just one." Warlord Zereth stood on his bridge. His 4 arms hung at his sides. His face, which had been so hard and cold only minutes before, now looked like the face of a small child who has just realized he is lost. He did not speak, he could not speak. I do not think he had the words. Captain Rhea nodded gently, as if she understood. "I will give you time, warlord, take your fleet home, rest, think, speak with your elders, speak with your children. When you are ready, if you are ever ready, our door will be open. If you never wish to come, that is also your right, we will respect it. Safe travels, warlord, go home to your family, they are waiting for you." The engines of the 12,000 Kravdu warships came back on. Their weapons remained inactive. Their ships turned, slowly, gracefully, and began to move back toward Kravdu space. And here is the part I will never forget. The part that made me cry harder than anything else that had happened in those wild days. Each Kravdu warship, as it turned to leave, was joined by a single small human vessel. 12,000 warships, 12,000 human escorts. The humans had brought exactly enough ships to walk each Kravdu home. The humans opened channels to each warship. They introduced themselves. They asked questions. They were curious about Kravdu food, Kravdu poetry, Kravdu music, Kravdu children. They asked about the weather on Kravdu homeworld. They asked how long the journey back would take. They offered to share some of their own music during the trip if anyone wanted to listen. The Kravdu, who had come to conquer, were now being taken home by polite strangers who wanted to know about their grandmothers. I sat in my station and I wept. I wept for Warlord Zereth, who had believed himself a hero and now had to find a new story to tell about himself. I wept for the Kravdu crews, who had never before been shown mercy by an enemy, because they had never before met an enemy who was not really an enemy at all. I wept for my own people, the Concordants, who had built a cage 800 years ago and now had to face the fact that we had been wrong about everything we thought we knew. And I wept for Captain Rhea and Ambassador Imani and every human I had ever seen on a screen, because I had finally understood something that I had not understood before. The humans had become strong, unimaginably strong, strong enough to end any war without a single life being lost, strong enough to unmake weapons in flight, strong enough to reach across the stars with a single raised hand. But more than that, they had become kind, and their kindness was not weakness, the way my people had always believed kindness to be. Their kindness was the result of their strength, not the absence of it. They were kind because they could afford to be. They were kind because they had learned, through 800 years of looking at themselves, that cruelty solved nothing and kindness solved everything. My people had locked them away because we feared their wildness. We had not imagined that in the darkness they would grow into something gentle, something better than us, something that would come back not to end us but to patiently, lovingly invite us to grow up. The broadcast feed continued to run. In the corner of my screen, I could see Captain Rhea sitting quietly in her little silver ship, watching the Kravdu fleet head home. She looked tired. She looked sad. Then very softly, she whispered something. The feed almost did not catch it, but my station recorded it and I played it back later many times. "I am sorry, Warlord," she said. "I am sorry we had to teach you this way. I hope one day you will forgive us." She closed her eyes, and the broadcast ended. I sat in the quiet of my station for a long time. I did not move. I did not speak. I just breathed slowly and let the truth settle into me. The galaxy had changed today. It would never change back. And I, Velkor Thene, third observer of the Galactic Concordance Council, knew with all my heart that I wanted to be a part of whatever came next, not as a watcher, not as a servant of old fears, but as a student of the humans, a student of kindness. It was time to grow up. 6 months had passed since the day the Kravdu fleet went home. The galaxy, I am happy to say, had not ended. The stellar empire had not fallen. The sky had not cracked open and swallowed us. Despite all the fears, despite all the dark predictions, life had simply gone on. But it had gone on differently. Everything was different now. And the difference was, in most ways, very beautiful. I walked through the gardens of the Concordance capital on a quiet afternoon. The sun of Cecilar Prime was warm on my skin. The paths were lined with flowers from 1,000 worlds. Children played between the trees, laughing, running, chasing each other with the boundless energy of the very young. I stopped to watch them. There were Kravdu hatchlings, their young scales still soft and bright. There were Etherian children, pale and slender, floating a few inches above the ground as their species preferred. There were small furred beings from the Finari worlds, tumbling over each other in the grass. And there were human children, real physical human children with dark hair and light hair and every color of skin between. They laughed the loudest. They ran the fastest. They invited everyone to join their games, even the shy ones, even the ones whose languages they did not yet speak. I was not supposed to have time to walk in gardens anymore. My new position kept me busy from morning until night. But today was special. Today I was meeting someone. I wanted to be early. I wanted to have a moment first, just to breathe, just to remember how far we had come. 6 months ago, I had been a third observer on a quiet station. Now I was the first official human liaison for the entire Concordance. It was a new position, created just for me, by direct order of a new council that looked very different from the old one. The old council had not fallen all at once. It had simply, quietly changed. Warlord Zereth had returned from his failed campaign a different being. He had spent the first month locked in his private chambers, speaking to no one. Then he had emerged, asked for an audience with Ambassador Imani, and spent 3 full days sitting with her, asking questions, listening to answers, saying very little himself. When he finally came out, he had written a long letter to the Kravdu people. It was a beautiful letter. I have a copy of it framed on my wall. In it, he said many things, but the most important line was this one. I went to war against a people who had already forgiven me. I have spent my entire life believing strength was the power to end others. I was wrong. The greatest strength is the power to not end others, even when you could. I did not know this was possible. I have much to learn. The Kravdu, as a people, had followed their warlord's example. Their war academies had closed slowly, one by one. The buildings had been turned into schools, into libraries, into hospitals. Their young, who for generations had learned combat before they could walk, now learned music and gardening and mathematics. They did not become soft. They became something new. They became fierce in their kindness. They threw themselves into the learning of human ways with the same passion they had once thrown into war. Kravdu poetry, which had always been about conquest and glory, now also had new forms, gentle forms, forms that praised the quiet of evening and the love of family. It was strange. It was lovely. The old warlord Zereth, still in his post, had begun writing such poems himself. He was not very good at it. He kept trying. I smiled, thinking of this, as I walked through the garden. The Etherians had welcomed the humans as lost cousins. The Finara had asked the humans for help with several old problems that had troubled their civilization for centuries, and the humans had helped, slowly and carefully, never doing the work for them but guiding them gently toward their own answers. Every species had been changed in small ways. The galaxy felt younger now, somehow, even though it had grown older by half a year. It was as if some great weight, some ancient fear, had been quietly set down. I came to a small fountain in the middle of the garden. A woman sat on its edge. She had dark brown skin, hair pulled back from her face, and she was smiling at me. "Velkor," Imani said, "you came." "Ambassador, thank you for seeing me again." "Please, just Imani. We are friends now. I think we have been friends for a long time." I sat down next to her. The water of the fountain made a soft sound. Somewhere in the trees, a bird sang. For a moment, neither of us spoke. "I have a question," I said at last. "I have wanted to ask it since the very first day. I have carried it in my chest for all these months. May I ask it now?" "Of course." I took a breath. I looked out at the children playing in the garden. "Why did you come back?" She turned her head slightly to look at me. "You did not need us," I said. "You had already solved your problems. You had become something wonderful. You could have stayed inside your own solar system forever, happy and peaceful, and we would never have troubled you again. Or you could have gone somewhere else. The galaxy is huge. You could have flown off to some distant place where no one had ever heard of the Concordance and started a new life. But instead, you came back, here, to the very civilization that locked you away. Why?" Imani was quiet for a long moment. She watched the children too. Her eyes grew soft. When she finally spoke, her voice was almost a whisper. "Velkor, we solved many problems during our long silence. We solved the problem of growing old. We solved the problem of being hungry. We solved the problem of being sick. We even solved the problem of dying, if you can believe it. We have not aged in centuries. Our bodies do not fail. Our minds do not fade. We can live as long as we choose to live." She smiled a small, sad smile. "But we did not solve the problem of being lonely. That one we could not crack. No matter how many of us there were, no matter how beautiful our cities, no matter how wise our elders, we were lonely. We had each other, of course. That helped. But we knew, all of us knew, that there were others out there. Other minds, other hearts, other songs. We knew you existed. We could feel the shape of the galaxy around our little bubble, full of voices we could not hear." She turned to face me fully. "Loneliness is the oldest problem a thinking creature has. Older than hunger, older than cold, older than fear. A being alone in the universe, no matter how rich, no matter how safe, is a being who has lost something precious. We could not solve that problem by ourselves. No one can. To not be lonely, you need someone else. And the someone else has to be willing." She reached out and touched my hand gently. "We came back. We came back to the civilization that had caged us, yes, but also the civilization that had kept us company in a strange way from a distance for all those years. We knew you were out there. We thought about you. We wondered about you. And when we were finally strong enough to come home, we chose to come home to you. Because a galaxy full of neighbors, even frightened ones, even unkind ones, is worth more than 1,000 perfect worlds where you have no one to wave at across the fence." I felt tears in my eyes again. I seemed to cry a lot these days. I did not mind. It was a good kind of crying. "You did not cage us, Velkor," Imani said softly. "You saved us. You gave us the one thing we could not give ourselves. You gave us a reason to come home, someone to come home to. Without you, we would have become a civilization with everything and nothing that mattered. Because of you, we have each other, and we have you, and we have the rest of this whole wonderful galaxy to meet and to love. Thank you, truly, thank you." I could not speak for a while. I just sat there on the edge of the fountain, with the water singing and the children laughing and the sun warm on my face. I thought of all the things I had believed when I was younger. I thought of how sure my people had been, for 400,000 years, that we were the oldest and wisest species in the galaxy. I thought of how we had built our cage around humanity with such certainty, such confidence, such pride. We had thought we were being kind. We had thought we were being wise. We had been neither. We had been afraid, and we had hidden our fear behind beautiful words. And now, after all that, the people we had locked away had come back to thank us. Not to punish us, not to lecture us, to thank us. Because they had grown in our cage into beings so kind that they could find gratitude even for their captivity. I did not know if my own people would ever grow into something half as beautiful. I hoped we would. I would spend the rest of my life helping, in whatever small ways I could. "Imani," I said at last, May I tell you something? Of course. For 400,000 years, my people called ourselves the Stellar Empire. We were proud of that name. We thought it meant we were great, but I have been thinking these past months, and I do not think the name fits us anymore. An empire is a thing of rulers and followers, a thing of power over others. That is not what we want to be now, not after what we have learned from you. She nodded slowly. What would you call it instead? She asked. I looked out at the garden, at the children, at the trees, at the sky that stretched up forever over the capital world, full of stars and possibilities. I do not know yet, I said, but I think it should be a name that means a family of many species sitting down together at the same table, a family that is still learning how to be kind to each other, a family that is not perfect but is trying. That is what I would like to call it. Imani smiled. That is a good name, she said. I hope you find the right word for it. I will keep looking. We sat together in the garden for a while longer, saying nothing, watching the children play. At one point, a small human girl, perhaps 6 years old, ran up to us with a flower in her hand. It was a purple flower, the kind that grew only on Cecilar Prime. She looked at me with big dark eyes and held the flower out. For you, she said. Her concordance standard was perfect, her accent sweet. Because you look a little sad and flowers always help. I took the flower from her hand. My fingers trembled a little. Thank you, I said. Thank you very much. She smiled at me. Then she ran back to her friends, her braids bouncing behind her. I held the flower carefully in my palm. I looked at its small purple petals. I looked at Imani. I looked at the sky. And I understood, finally, what the humans had really brought with them when they came back from their long quiet. They had not brought weapons. They had not brought armies. They had not brought demands. They had brought themselves, all 40 billion of them, with their music and their poems and their children and their kindness. They had brought to a galaxy that had forgotten it was allowed to ask for such things, the simple, world-changing gift of company. That evening, I returned to my office. I sat down at my desk. I opened a new file. The file was my final report, the one I had been asked to write for the new council, a summary of everything that had happened since the day the sensors had gone dark over the forbidden quarantine zone. I had been putting this report off for months. I had not known how to end it. Now I did. I wrote the first line, then the second, then all the lines in between. And at the very end, I wrote this. The humans did not return as conquerors. They returned as the older brothers and sisters we did not know we had. They found us frightened and proud and small. They did not punish us for our smallness. They sat down beside us and waited, patient and kind, for us to grow. May we, in time, prove worthy of their patience. May we, someday, prove worthy of ourselves. I read the words back once. They were true. I saved the file. I sent it to the council. Then I walked to the window of my office. I looked out at the city. I looked at the stars coming out one by one in the dark sky above. I thought about Master Oren, the old scientist, who had told me 700 years ago that it was already too late to do anything but watch and be kind. I hoped, wherever he was now, that he could see what had happened. I hoped he knew that his words had found me, and that I had tried in my own small way to follow them. The stars twinkled softly. The galaxy turned. Somewhere out in the dark, 40 billion humans and 8,000 other species were all sitting down, each in their own way, to their evening meals. Some were laughing. Some were singing. Some were holding the hands of people they loved. Some were just watching the night come on,